discuss. My name is Oleg. I'm a head of non-governmental organization in New State. And now I want to ask you about next. In your opinion, which progressive political party with a progressive ideology needed of Ukrainian people to make successful changes of all spheres of social life and political system in our country? And this is a question to all of our foreign guests. If you have some answer, please give us.
Like from the view of the political scientists, I would say I would admit rather a critical political scientist. It's like the decision between pest and cholera. Like how do I mean this? You have the need to make very harsh reforms, and the only way to make these reforms is via international help. And we all know that this help means the International Monetary Fund, that means the European Union, and so on. So I think that this reform agenda, like in the progressive way, it will be the middle way between the reforms in a rather what in Germany we like to call a neoliberal way, like privatization and putting an end to corruption and so on. But on the other hand, I think, to my personal opinion, it will be really important to establish a system of welfare system and like a security net. In this way, I think it's a really hard way between like this more or less radical reforms and saying, okay, we cannot take another shock therapy, which was the way what was in Eastern Europe in the 90s. So because it's always the potential that this reform measures like backflash in a negative way because people are not satisfied with this. So this will be quite this in-between.
Crucial problem in this country is that the oligarchs actually still dictate the politics. And what we definitely need is what Johan mentioned with the public financing of the political party. I know it's tricky and you can do many things wrong with it, but at least for me, not earning a lot of money, but still being in the Bundestag, it is not an exception, it is possible. So what you need is the independency of your MPs. And I have seen it in the States. That's terrible, yeah? My former colleagues from the Congress, they're working over 50% of the time just for fundraising to be re-elected, yeah? Most of the time they're just on their way to ask people for money. This is not the way how you can deal with politics. So you have to keep in mind that as long as the oligarchs rule this country, there will be no programmatic approach, which is something worth debating on. But what Johan said is absolutely right. You're a nation of culture, you're a nation of education, you're a nation of human, as we call it, very technical resources. And when you keep up the level of education at that way, you're gonna lose, yeah? So what you need is investing into education. And I can just propose to every party leader here, just go for education and get skilled workers, get skilled people, so you have the comparative advantage what then the foreign investor or your own people are looking for. Why people are withdrawing from countries? Why are people leaving from countries? Because they don't get skilled workers, yeah? With your demographics, it will be tough enough to keep up to this level. But if you start de-investing into this sector, it is really dangerous. So I would say educating, skilled labor, this is something for me which has the future.
I have a question. You have all your parties have youth organizations too, you represent. And which system of cooperation party and the youth organization of party? For example, you have some vote in party list elections, you have some financial help from parties, you have some and other styles of cooperation, and see some word about it.
It's hard to answer because there is no fixed mechanism of how this relationship works, like in most relationships. I think there's a dependence for both poles, for the mother party and the youth organization, because of course your party wants the help of your youth organization during electoral campaigns. It's also very valuable for addressing young people. And on the other hand, of course, members of youth organizations want to run for office. And they usually only run for office by running as a candidate of CDU or the Green Party or SPD. So you are dependent. Yes, there is financial aid from our mother party. I don't know about the other youth organizations, but we are mainly independent. We are mainly doing our own fundraising. We have, of course, our own budgets. As I said, there is no real mechanism. You always have to find the middle way of being an independent organization, because I think otherwise you won't address young people properly. I mean, I myself, I want to criticize my party, and I want to, of course I can as a member of this party, but it will have a much bigger effect if you have this youth organization behind you. That's what we're doing at the moment most of the time. I'm spokesman for economy and labor questions. So at the moment we have many projects from the SPD being brought through the parliament. So Junge Union is very critical about the policy of its mother party at the moment. And it is our best interest to stay independent. And referring to the first question, the question of Oleg, I think you really should stick to enlightenment. It was said here before, our democracy has its origins in enlightenment, and I think that also is important for the system within the party, because really the foundation of every democracy and of every party system is a critical individual citizen. You have to try to rethink everything, even though you might agree in the end, because only then you'll understand, and only then you'll be able to defend it. So be critical with your party system, but also see the necessity of compromise and of organizing yourself, even though it's very hard most of the time. Thank you.
I would like to address one of my questions, which is most right about Mr. Young Scientist. So far as I understood from your presentation, Germany has like a single mandate electoral system, right? So the members of the parliament are elected from the districts, so to say, not by party lists, correct?
The German election system are very complex. It is called personalisiertes Verhältniswahlrecht mit 5% Mehrheit Stärke. So, this alone is very impressive, but no, if I can summarize, we have like two lists. The first and the second voice. The second voice being the most important voice, since the amount of the voices you receive in, not voice, but a vote is also a voice. So the amount of the voices you receive from the second cross will mark how many mandates you receive in the Bundestag. And the first voice the first vote you make, the first cross, is for the direct mandates. So you have, for example, you are in a kind of district of Hamburg or something, and you can choose the political party with your second voice, and the single district with your first voice. So
Okay, then you have something as lobby groups in the parliament, and if you have, how do they cooperate with business, and what are their functions, and what are the tools that you use? Thank you.
Sit down for an hour to explain the dual electoral system or electoral system. It's really complicated, and especially in Germany, nobody understands it. I don't think we should spend the next hour or half an hour to go too much into details, but definitely the single mandatory mandates cannot change the relation of the votes of the list votes. So this is what I wanted to say to your first question. Concerning the second question, this is becoming, it's becoming a topic in Germany. People are aware of that the influence of business, of cooperation, but also all kinds of lobby groups is increasing. And that's why I try to make the point with transparency. When I was in the Bundestag, I was almost from every meeting I had monitoring who did I talk to, who was that, what was his or her interest, and documented that on my homepage. Of course, if I talked to human rights defenders from Turkmenistan or Uzbekistan, that was strictly forbidden because these people were killed when they returned home. And even in Yanukovych times, I didn't tell everybody whom I talked to, yeah? But this is for sure for their own defense reason. But in general, I would say that you, as the constituents, should ask your parliamentarians, what are your contacts, where are you involved in, to whom did you talk to? So you should really raise the questions and really bring the awareness to the public that they push their own MPs to openly talk about, and also in which boards they are, what kind of money do they get, the sources of the money. This is, of course, in Germany very much restricted, but only, as also Johan explained, there's a threshold. Yeah? I don't know what the last changes was in this law. I think we have just changed it recently, so people have to give information more detailed one than it was before, but still, at least you get an idea whether your MP has 10,000 plus the money from the Bundestag, or he has zero, and what kind of money is that from? Is it from a company? Is it from his medical sources or whatever? So this is not optimal, it's not enough information for the public and for the constituents, but it's already much better than in many other countries.
What do you think, from the point of view of political history, is the most effective way of creating a constitution, but also the most effective way of changing the constitution?
But you have to see that the most important thing that you can do when you want to make something good is that you need to learn from the past. I know this sounds kind of pathetic, but in the case of Germany we can see that this was clearly the fact. Because the basic law, being the Grundgesetz, not only was looking on the time of the Weimar Republic and made some changes of the idea that were there, but it also looked to the last chapter of German history, which was the Kaiserreich under Bismarck. So this is the most general thing I would say about this, that you just have to learn from the past. This also is connected with the fact that you need to have a clear window of opportunity to make these changes come true in a certain way. So as it was said very impressively, I think that the crisis in Ukraine, or not the crisis, being more optimistic, Maidan revolution, is this clear window of opportunity that was, in the German case, in a rather destructive way, the end of the Second World War.
So for my later, I was, because today we have a organization in Parliament, and from there I can tell you. What as it say, that deputy do nothing work. They don't work. They only push the button. All the works do his assistants and lobbyists. And we have the same problem in the Ukraine, that deputy only pushes the button voting, and they don't understand what the law, what is the law. And in Ukraine we said that the deputy is not Bogdan. So can you comment this? Have you seen all of this?
Well, maybe I didn't understand everything correctly, so of course, if you go through all the laws, which in every session week are being voted on, these are, I don't know how many dozen. And of course, you cannot be an expert in all the details. For example, I had a focus on foreign policy, European affairs, and sports. And everything else, I had to completely rely on my assistant, on my colleagues, on everybody else. I cannot go into every detail of the law for social reforms, for the health system, which is terribly complicated. Even the most and the best experts in Germany really sometimes struggle with the details of our laws. So you cannot expect having, in one term, a generalist and in other term, a specialist at the same time. That doesn't work. I think it is important that you have politicians who have a mission, who run for something, who have a focus, who want to change something, yeah, who are, let's say, ready for a dialogue, who like to hear what the constituents say, yeah, instead of having, let's say, professors, all the professors and only experts who are just very, very deep in one or two, three subjects, but don't care about anything. So I think this is a little bit of a trade-off, yeah? You need people who can talk, who like to perform, yeah? These are not always the people who really cope with every detail which is necessary. But you're absolutely right. I voted on things I didn't have a clue on. I have to admit, that's the way it works. Yeah, that's why, and this maybe I would like to stress at the end. What you have to get the public for, and what you really have to lobby for, get a better infrastructure for your own MPs. You have to be paid very well, because you have to be experts. You have to be the backbone of your MPs. And that's what I would like to recommend my federal government, yeah? Get a better infrastructure for the parliamentarians here. For example, we did some consultancy in the Kyrgyz parliament after their so-called revolution in 2011, I think, or 2010. And we talked to the parliamentarians and said, you guys, you have to increase your support, your staff, yeah? You need more possibilities to travel, you have to really be mobilized. And they said, they put us, as here too, they put us in a dust container if we vote for more money for the parliament. Yeah? But people have to understand that parliament as a control function, as an important pillar of the political system, will only work if you have experts in this parliament. And experts are never the parliamentarians. In some cases they are, but mostly not. So you need experts in the groups, you need experts in the offices of the MPs, you need experts in the administration of the parliament. We have a terrible, maybe we could talk a little bit about that. We have a terrible good service for each parliamentarian. If I want to know something, even about Ukraine, even about, I don't know, some specific topic, yeah, I tell I was telling my assistant, hey, please get a little questionnaire and ask the Wissenschaftlicher Dienst, the research service, just for the Bundestag to work and elaborate on this topic. And after a certain period of time, sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks, I got a whole report, sometimes 11 pages, sometimes 20 pages, sometimes even more, on my subject I was asking for, just for nothing. So I was really becoming an expert in many topics I've never been before, because I had this good stuff. Yeah? And that's what people have to understand here. You need a parliament which works, and this is just possible if you have people who understand what's going on in the world, and you can compare. You need to travel, yeah? You need to talk to different staffs from different parliaments. You have to have the money to do that. You have to be independent. And that's what I would lobby for. If we talk about lobbying, yeah, I would lobby first for the political system, which is definitely independent from all the oligarchs who are now ruling the country, which is really a tragedy for me.
Yeah, it's a very kind of balancing to be a generalist and to be an expert. In my election department, I'm a generalist. There's a tree above my car, and this could be broken, and you need to do something. You need to talk to the administration and helping my car not getting crashed. So I'm a generalist as in my electoral part, and then I'm an expert in I'm a spokeswoman for eco-environmental, and I'm a spokeswoman for migration. So in the refugee topics, I am asked to answer some questions from other election parts. So departments, and we have an office. We volunteer. In our city council, we are volunteer politicers. So it's like we don't earn any money, so we cannot be any experts. That have no wissenschaftlicher Dienst, no researchers. But we have an office, and in our office we have a secretary who makes my schedule. I have one who makes my press releases. He's gonna take the pictures, he's gonna do this website stuff, and we have one who makes these political strategies. She's like telling us this is the way how we can reach our aims. And you need to be, you need to have this network around. You need those offices, and it needs to be paid, and it needs to be paid very well.
And my question would be, as I understood, you're trying to tighten this connection between Ukrainian system and the European system. But the real question is, Ukraine has also entrepreneurs who would like to change our country, and how you see this possible cooperation between business and political parties and parliament? Thank you.
I think especially in Germany, many people consider companies being something bad. They see the CEO with his extremely high wage, and they see, of course, the finance sector and the crisis. But I think we always have to reflect that behind most companies there are very, very many employees, and I think in some way nearly every one of us works already or will work someday for a company. So of course it's legitimate for companies to address their positions to politics, and of course it's legitimate to lobby. I mean, this is it's hard to define what is lobbying. I think we all agree on the rule of law. We all agree that companies should never pay a politician for a decision. But of course, it's legitimate to have these experts for their special field when they are active in advising politics. And in CDU, even though it's not the optimum, because we have a very, very few rate of entrepreneurs as active politicians as the Greens. We have, it's called the Wirtschaftsrat, Board of Economy, you could translate it. It is an advisory board for our party. It's an organization where entrepreneurs who don't have that much amount of time can contribute to political decisions simply by advice. It's as with every question, I guess, you have to find a good middle way. And of course, if there are unions, if there are NGOs, then it is absolutely legitimate for companies to organize themselves and address certain positions to policy, as long as there's no direct link from this influence to the decision.
Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to thank our speakers. I would like to thank you as a really great participants, actually not audience. We can go on now in an informal fashion during the reception and ask your questions also informally.